Hi, I'm Marco Bundo, and over the past few months, I deliberately set out to showcase and strengthen my cloud engineering skill set by designing and building a complete end-to-end cloud-native system. The goal was to work backwards from real-world expectations and industry standards used by top-tier technology companies. This project became both a learning vehicle as well as a reusable foundation, something I can extend or replicate when building cloud-native systems in the future. I treated this like an actual project, with defined phases, epics, features, user stories, and tasks. Rather than a feature demo, I want to walk you through this from a systems perspective. So let's go. Phase 1 focused on back-end foundations. The application itself is intentionally simple. It's a basic expense tracking CRUD application, and that's by design. The goal here wasn't novelty, it was maintainability, testability, and change safety. I started with clean architecture to force clear boundaries early. Before the system grows and before teams are added, business logic is isolated, framework agnostic, and easy to reason as the system grows. This phase establishes a baseline that everything else can build on. Phase 2 is containerization and local Kubernetes. The entire system is containerized using Docker and orchestrated locally, so it runs the same way every time on any machine. Before touching the cloud, I made sure the application behaved correctly under an orchestrator. This is where I introduce Helm for version installs of my Kubernetes cluster. This is what makes Kubernetes predictable later instead of pure chaos. And the Helm chart I build in this phase will be the same one I use when deploying to AKS later. Phase 3. Phase 3 is infrastructure as code and AKS. All infrastructure is provisioned using Terraform. That's networking, AKS, Azure SQL, private endpoints, private DNS zone, and supporting services, with no manual ClickOps inside Azure portal. And that platform is private by default. Azure SQL has no public access and is only reachable through a private endpoint inside the virtual network. From the application's point of view, it connects using a normal hostname. From the network's point of view, that hostname resolves to a private IP inside the VNet. This phase answers a simple question. Could this system safely run in a real company environment? Phase 4 is security, identity, and API management. This is the phase where this stops being a demo application and actually becomes a secure platform. There are no secrets in code, non-config files, and not in environment variables. At runtime, the application uses managed identity and workload identity federation to authenticate to Azure. Secrets like connection strings live in Key Vault and are accessed securely using RBAC. All external traffic flows through Azure API management, where authentication and authorization are enforced at the edge using Microsoft Entra. Only validated requests ever reach Kubernetes. Security is centralized, intentional, and designed, not scattered across application code. Once identity and security are correct, observability actually means something. Phase 5 is observability. The system is fully instrumented using OpenTelemetry and Azure Monitor. I can trace a request end-to-end, from API management through the application running in AKS and into Azure SQL, with logs, metrics, and dependencies correlated automatically. If something breaks, I don't guess, I don't panic, I can explain what happened and where to look next. Phase 6. Phase 6 is the front end and CI/CD. It completes the system with a React front end built with Tailwind CSS and Shad CN UI. This provides a clean, modern UI and authenticates users using Microsoft Entra External ID. Everything is deployed through a CI/CD pipeline, so changes flow from source to production without any manual steps. In conclusion, the result is a complete cloud-native end-to-end system, from UI to database, with real authentication, security, and observability. Linked below is the GitHub repository. Thanks for watching. Bye.